One of the things that I realized in life that my goal is to help amplify voices. Abundance is your birthright. And because abundance is your birthright, and is better than or. As an abundant thinker, I don't want to choose. I want it all. I want and. When you think about the root word of authority, it's author. Whether it is a child or a multi-millionaire, when I say I'm an author, I write books, I always get a second question. What kind of books do you write? I need you to see your worth. I need you to know that you are her, you are him. Everything that you think in your mind, you are that, and you do not need the world to validate that.
There are a lot of people out here who have a story. Yeah. They're ready to tell it. They're ready to draft it and put it on paper.
Yeah.
How do I even start?
Yeah. So the one thing I'm gonna say to everybody.
Welcome to another episode of Access Granted, where I give you exclusive access to entrepreneurs that are killing it in their industry. Today, I'm super excited. You guys know I like to share my audience with people who are impacting and changing my life. And today I have somebody who has helped me on my journey with launching and crafting Fire to Freedom. So welcome, Ash Cash. What is up? How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Listen, I was like, who would be the perfect guest? And I'm like, I got to share the person who's helped me the most. So I just appreciate you. I want to give you your flowers for pouring into me, giving me that push, that nudge that I need. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I think one of the things that I realized in life that my goal is to help amplify voices. And I think for a long time, people told me what I couldn't do and what I was going to be, dead or in jail by 21. I never had anybody affirm my greatness. And so I had to affirm it myself. And so I've been on a mission to look at greatness and say, nah, there's more, and amplify that voice. And so I saw you were killing it, but I'm like, nah, we don't know Kwenta. We don't really know her. Yeah. And so a book did that, and I'm happy you were open enough to be able to work and Fire to Freedom.
Listen, I'm claiming
#1 bestseller, international.
Yes, let's do it.
You know.
Yeah,
yes,
it's already there. Yes, so I want to dive into your story. I know your story. Yes. We have a very similar story, but I want to share it with the audience. Like, who is Ash Cash? Yeah. How did you get here? Yeah. How did your journey start?
So I'm a financial educator. I'm the youngest of 3. I grew up in the projects. I'm from Harlem, New York City, home of the hustlers. And I'm just somebody so I started out as a troubled youth, if you want to say, but I've also always been an entrepreneur. So 8 years old, packing bags at the local supermarket, 12, selling mixtapes and t-shirts on 125th Street. So I've always been a hustler, always been somebody who was into entrepreneurship. Almost graduated into selling drugs, just to be 100% honest. And then my sister, who actually, she saved my life because she was like, nah, we're not doing that. And at 17, she got me a job at Blockbuster Videos. Rest in peace, Blockbuster Videos. And from Blockbuster, that's when I started to realize my greatness. And that same skill set I had in the streets, hustling and things of that nature. I did that at the video store, got promoted to to assistant manager. While I was an assistant manager at Blockbuster Videos, one of the assistant managers working at Chase Bank at the time came in and said they're hiring at Chase. Do you want, who wants to interview? I went to interview there, and the rest is history. Wow. At 19 years old, I started my career in banking, did everything in banking from teller, personal banker, private banker, branch manager. At one point, I was one of the youngest CEOs of a federally chartered bank at 31 years old. And then, I volunteered to teach financial literacy at a school, and I fell in love with teaching financial literacy. And in the words of the great Sean Carter, AKA Jay-Z, there's much bigger issues in the world I know, so I first have to take care of the world I know. Wow. And what that meant was I felt like, as a guy who grew up in the projects, who now has all this information, I'm literally taking this information and I'm teaching another community. I'm teaching wealthy people. But there's people back home, there's people from my culture that need to know how to manage money. And so I left the banking world, wrote my first book in 2009. And then now you see I'm a 7-figure. I mean, I don't call myself. I mean, I know I'm jumping around a little bit. I don't call myself an 8-figure entrepreneur because I made 8 figures with just 1 year. So I consistently make 7 figures. So I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur. Because a lot of people be like, they do something one time and then they claim it. And my goal is to get back to 8, 6, consistently. But now I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur.
I got you. I
Yes.
love your story. Very similar, right?
Yes.
Worked for Wells Fargo for a very long time. And I also seen a gap. When people would come inside, they would want access to funding. They would want, open up a checking account. They wouldn't know where to start. There was just a lack of knowledge and information. So I felt like there was so much more that I should be doing instead of sitting behind the desk and just being an order taker.
Yeah.
Like they come inside, they say, I want a check-ins account. Like, what's a check-ins
Right,
account?
right.
So let me just start educating you on what this is, what to do. And the bank didn't like that. And terminated me for teaching entrepreneurs and teaching people outside of the bank on how to get access to funding and capital. So,
And the best thing that ever happened to you.
The best thing.
Fired into freedom.
Fired into
Absolutely.
freedom.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
best thing that could have happened to me. But I didn't see that as my journey. I didn't forecast that. There is nothing that you could have told me 10 years ago or 5 years ago that I would be where I am right now. So, I love that you are pouring into the community, teaching the community about this information. I love your story and how you grew up and, your sister or sibling, grabbed you and said, no, we're going this way. And I want to touch on something real quick before we dive into, writing books and drafting books. But you grabbed a young man, Cedric, and you was like, nah, we doing this. And you just helped Cedric create and draft a book. And he is actually in the top 30 on Amazon right now
As a
of selling
17-year-old.
as a
It's crazy.
17-year-old entrepreneur. So how do I, there are a lot of people out who have a story.
Yeah.
They're ready to tell it. They're ready to draft it and put it on paper.
Yeah.
How do I even start?
Yeah. So the one thing I'm gonna say to everybody, and please take this with a grain of salt, nobody cares about your story.
That's good.
I'm gonna say that because I think a lot of people, I meet a lot of people, and they're like, "Oh, I got a story. Nobody cares. What they do care about is how your story helps them. And so you start by not saying, hey, I want to share my story, but just for the sake of sharing my story, you ask yourself, how can my story and my experience help somebody? And then when you take how it can help and you connect your story to it, that is the winning recipe for greatness. That is winning recipe for your purpose. That's where you start. A lot of us are self-centered, right? A lot of us feel like, hey, I'm doing this thing. It's worked for me, so it got to work for somebody else. And I'm just going to tell my story, and y'all going to figure out why I'm telling my story. So even like you mentioned Cedric, he's an entrepreneur. He's selling hats. He is a master salesperson at 17. Why? Because he was a troubled kid as well. And a lot of times us troubled kids, we get in trouble a lot. And so we got to talk our way out of trouble. And so because we got to talk our way out of trouble, we're really quick on our feet. And so I saw him. I said, man, he is a master salesperson. And so I said, I wonder if he could just take his story and now teach other people how to sell. And that's what we did with the book, right? Young, hustling and grinding. No, young, gifted and grinding, right? We are teaching people how to sell, right? Him being a young person, he has this, this skill set to the point where at 17, he has mentees. Like I watched, so InvestFest was this past August. I watched during InvestFest that he was literally had other people selling hats, right? Salute to Paige. Paige made 11 years old. Paige is 11 years old. She made $2,300 during selling hats because she's one of his mentees, right? So and he has others. He has other mentees. And so the way he's teaching that, how do you take your story, your skill set, and pass it along? And that's what we did with the book. And that's where anybody who has a story, that's how you start. You start by just taking your story, connecting it with what you do, and then being able to reach more people, because that's what it's about, right? Right now, Cedric is only in Atlanta. But there's some kids in New York that need his help. There's some kids in Compton that need his help. There's some kids in Tennessee that need his help.
Right.
But at the end of the day, he can't be there all at once. So we write the book and we allow the book to now, he's able to duplicate himself and then teach the people and really bless the world.
That is so dope. So dope and so powerful. So don't just tell your story.
Yeah, don't
right?
just tell your story. Yeah.
Figure out, I tell people inside of my community this all the time. It's like you got to find a problem and then be the solution to the problem. And then that's how you connect with grantors. So it's the same thing with putting that into your book to connect with the readers and capture the audience and their attention. So we tell our story. We figure out how we can help others, and then, what are some additional strategies and things that we can do? Like, how do we get our book on Amazon?
Yeah.
Is that the best platform?
Yeah.
Do we publish it? Do we go through a company and publish it?
Yeah.
There's so many things and key components to this, but how do we really just get it out there?
Yeah. So we're living in some of the best times ever to be an entrepreneur, ever, right? Even as an author. So here's the thing. A lot of people, they always try to choose between a traditional publisher and self-publishing. So there's three types of publishers. You got a traditional publisher, so like your, Simon and Schuster's, the big guys that everybody goes through, celebrities go through. You have your hybrid publishers who are somewhere in the middle between self-publishing and major. They're really just a done-for-you service where they're doing the publishing for you. And then you have self-publishing where you publish it yourself. The problem with a major publisher is that you can't go to them unsolicited and say, hey, I have this book and I want to put it out. You have to have a literary agent, and that literary agent then has to pitch you. If they say yes, you have no real creative control over that book. Like they're going to tell you, what they know. They have a lot of data, a lot of research, and so they're like the corporate side of book publishing, if you will. They're going to tell you what you should put out, how you should put out, actually when you should put it out. So if you have an idea now that you're like, I want to go right now, most times it's like a year to 2 years before that book even comes out. Then you have a hybrid publisher, which I'm not mad at hybrid publishers, but at the end of the day, they're charging you to do stuff that you could probably do for yourself, because even once they publish the book, the promotion is still on you. You still have to promote it or whatever the case may be. You're paying them a fee, but they're not really helping you, giving you strategy, anything like that. Then you have a self-publishing. You go to self-publishing route where you could just do everything yourself. So I say that your book should be everywhere, right? Your book should be on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, independent bookstores, Walmart, Target, anywhere books are sold, your books should be there. There are book coaches out there who will tell you, don't put them on all of these platforms. Only put them on your own website, because you should own the data, right? And so somebody should come to your website and they buy the book from you, and you own the data. You can upsell them, things of that nature. I have a phrase, abundance is your birthright. And because abundance is your birthright, and is better than or, right? As an abundant thinker, I don't want to choose. I want it all. I want and, right? And so, yes, I say put your book on your own website, right? So that you can own the data. But you also want your book on Amazon. You want your book on Audible. You want your book in Barnes and Nobles. You want your book in all of these different places. Why? Because if you only have your book on your website, then the only way someone could ever get your book is if they know you, right? They're not going to be by mistake searching the biggest book website ever, and they say, you know what? I want to learn about grants. And if they go to Amazon and search grants and they don't see Fire into Freedom, they're never going to get Kwenta's book. Right. So now if you're on Amazon, if you're on Audible, if you're on Barnes & Nobles, if you're at Walmart, if you're at Target, if you're at the airports, if your book is available at all these places, now you have access to the random person who's not online, who's not part of your funnel. Now they have access, right? The other thing is that a lot of the book coaches will tell you, don't put your book in all these different places, because they don't understand how to make money, right? So for me, I have something called the 4 E's, right? If you want to make 7-8 figures, you need to follow the 4 E's. You need an entry-level product or service. You need an examination level product or service. You need an elastic level product or service, and you need an exclusive level product or service. So your book is always going to be an entry level product or service. So we're in the same space, digital space. So we understand that webinars, your social media content, podcasts, books, these are all entry level product or services. These are things that we are providing free or low cost to a wide array of audience so that they can come in and see what we have to offer, right? Step number 2 is now we want them into, we got to create an examination level product or service. Examination means now that I know you, I want to examine. I want to see, what do you really know? And so I might buy a course. I might do a 5-day challenge. Like I want a little bit more than what you gave me for free. Mm-hmm. Then after that, when they start to know, like, and trust you, you have the elastic level product or service, which means they keep coming back. I like Coach K so much that I want to be part of her community, which is why it's elastic. They keep coming back. And then lastly, though, they're going to be the people that says, you know what? I like this whole group thing, but I want to go fast. I want to work directly with Coach K. And now they buy your high ticket or exclusive level product or service. And that's the whole ecosystem. The truth of the matter is that some people will only be an examination level person. Some people are only going to be an elastic person. Some people are only going to be an exclusive person, right? If I buy a book, I'm not really joining nobody's program. I'm not really taking no course. If I want the result that you have, I'm exclusive. I'm gonna pay whatever I need to pay so I can get direct access to who you are, so I can get to it faster, right? And so what people don't understand is that a lot of times they start with the book and they wait until they'll create these other things. I say this. I say, first of all, right, find who you are, find how you can help somebody, and that becomes your book, right? But I need you to jump ahead and go to the exclusive thing. Say, what result can I help somebody with? And what can I help them do? And let me start with my exclusive level product or service. What can I do one-on-one? Now, based on what I could do one-on-one, let me create my group coaching. Let me create my course, and then my book should lead them all into that. Why is that? Because now when I'm doing my webinar, when I do a funnel that's free plus shipping, when I'm doing all these things, you're reading about this stuff in this book, and eventually you're gonna want to know more. And depending on who you are, you're gonna choose the medium to work with me based on that.
That is so fire. Listen, that was a whole masterclass.
$1 million worth of game.
That was $1 million worth of game. Listen,
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the way you just broke that down, and I never really thought about it like that. And there are so many people and I try to always make sure I have a product or service to meet everybody where they are. Mm-hmm. And the way you just broke that down is just something that I always strive and try to do. How important is it to add the author title to what you are doing?
Let me tell you a quick story. I honestly believe it's the easiest way to differentiate yourself from the noise, right? So I became a VP at the bank at 24 years old, right? Again, growing up from, in the neighborhood where they told me I'll be dead or in jail by 21. By 24, I was a VP. I was like, my God, this is a big deal. I became a CEO of a credit union at 31. By the time I retired from banking, I would go around and tell people, yeah, I'm a former banker. Or I was the youngest VP at 24, one of the youngest CEOs of Federal Charter Bank. Guess what? Nobody cared. No one. I'm talking about people that you would think would care, did not care. Like I'm raising I'm this young black guy that y'all thought was gonna be a super predator. I didn't do none of that stuff. Look what I've done. Nobody cared. 2009, I wrote my book, Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom. When I tell you, when I walk into places and they say, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm the author of Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom.
Wow.
So it gave me a sense, and you think about it, right? When you think about the root word of authority, it's author, right? And so it automatically gave me this level of authority to the point where right now, if I walk into a room right now with whoever, and they say, oh, what do you do? I'm a serial entrepreneur. Or, I help, I'm the queen of grants. I help people with grants. Or I do digital marketing. Like if you walk in and do that, they'll be like, okay. You don't never really get like a follow-up question. Mm-hmm. When I walk in the room, somebody say, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm an author, I write books. I kid you not, whether it is a child or a multi-millionaire, when I say I'm an author, I write books, I always get a second question. What kind of books do you write? Oh, yeah, I've published 20 books. Oh, I'm the author of this. Because automatically, and this is a true story. I remember, my wife and I were looking at homes, right? And we went to this open house, and this was a multi-million-dollar house. And there was a guy who was in finance. And I looked him up later. I didn't know this was who he was, but he's like a big deal, right? And I want to say he was probably worth like 80 or 90 million. Like he was up there, right? And I remember when we went to see the house, spoke to the wife first. The husband wasn't around, so she called the husband like, "Oh, I want you to meet him. I want you to meet him." Because when she asked me what I did, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm an author. I write books." And she's like, "What do you write books about?" I said, I was in finance, and I write books on finance." And she was like, "Oh, my husband's in finance. You should meet him." And she called him, and we had the conversation, and it was simply that. I could almost guarantee you that she would not have called her husband for me to meet this guy who's worth $90 million if I would have told her that I was a branch manager, that I ran banks, right? But the fact that I said I'm an author and I'm in finance, it opened her eyes. It gave me that authority. Man, this guy got to be somebody. And here's the other kicker: is the great thing about books also is that now when you meet me, even if you don't like act like I'm anything, when I leave, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna Google my name. And if you Google my name, you know what comes up first? My books. You see pictures of it. You see pictures of my books. So it says author. It doesn't say digital marketer. It doesn't say any of those things, because imagine anybody who has a large following online on social media, when you Google their name, their Instagram comes up first. And when you think about radio, television, when you think about, bigger entities, they care about authority. And so books instantly add authority to you.
I love that. And that's just being transparent. I love that we connected, because when we talk about grants now, it's like it's this new thing in our community.
Yes.
And everybody wants it. But everybody sees success when it comes to people who are teaching it. When they see Coach K, they see what I've done in a little bit over a year's time, and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna start teaching grants. So it's that key piece of what separates me. I have receipts. I have students who've got, millions of dollars in funding, but what's that next level thing that separates me from anybody else that's talking about this?
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. So I thank you.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm going to say it a million times.
Because guess what? Now, when you now introduce yourself, you're an author, right? But also now you get to go places they can't go.
Yeah.
Right? Like now you can go to your local television station and have conversations. You can get on radio and have conversations. You can, like, all these different these major places that other people can't go because all they have is a title. Now you have the authority to back it, and so it exponentially grows what you're doing. And here's the other thing: the fact that you figured out how to teach online, it just adds. So now you still have that audience, you still have that impact, but now you have a whole list or a whole array of other platforms that you can focus on to actually give you even more impact.
That's amazing. So you coach and teach anyone
Absolutely
how to put their story into it, sell it in a way where it helps others and solves problems for others, but how to put this in Amazon and Walmart and all of the places where it needs to be. Talk about how you're helping and impacting others as well.
Yeah. So again, as a person who amplifies voices, I kind of felt like I had an obligation to not just amplify my voice and kind of say, hey, I've done it for myself, but can you do it for other people as well? And so that's what I think. For me, 2018 was the first time I made six figures from a book, right? I kind of like figured it out. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, speaking engagements. Oh, audio books. Oh, coaching. So that was the first year that I made money, made six figures. I made money, but six figures from a book. And so I just started to say, all right, I need to help other people do that. And so what I decided to do was really just take my formula that has worked for me over and over and over again. I have this saying, don't do it till you get it right. Do it till you can't get it wrong, right? And so I have a formula that if you follow my formula, it's going to work. And so I've been able to, help many people, write and publish their book, and make money from it. Because I think that it's important to say that there are, I think, 11,000 books that are published every single day. The average author sells less than 1,000 copies of their book throughout the lifetime of their book, right? And the majority of authors make less than $250, right, from their book. And so yes, you could run around with the author title and say, hey, I'm an author, hey, I'm an author, but are you making money from your book, right? And so for me, I have a proven system that you can't really chat GBT, because I think that people look at AI right now and they think that because they have access to AI that they immediately become the expert, and that's not true, because it's people that's training the artificial intelligence. It's almost like saying, because you can buy a hammer and buy a drill, you could build a house. You cannot, right? You have to have that skill set. And so, I've created a program. So I call it Book Rich, because again, I want people to write their book, but I also want them to make money from it. So it's a movement. Even it's the Book Rich movement, where we're helping everyday people, right? Everyday people write and publish their books, but also giving them the mechanism on how they could create multiple streams of income from that book. And so I've created 15 plus different ways that you can monetize your book, and I teach that in my program. But see, right, I practice what I preach. I have a book that teaches that to you. I have a course that teaches it to you. Right. I have a group coaching program. We meet every Tuesday at 8 p.m. where you can ask me questions, and those are my Book Rich Wealth Circulators. And then I have my exclusive where I work with people one-on-one and kind of help them get to that result faster.
Ash, you are absolutely amazing. Let's talk about your books.
Yes.
We've talked about how you're helping others, but I think it's important for people to know that you do this.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I love about books is it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? You write a book one time.
And that's it. And
you write a book one time and it's out there forever, and you can continue to make money and income from it. But let's talk about some of your books.
Yes.
What are some of the books that you have created? I know there's over 20, right?
Over 20, yep.
But let's just shine some light on some things that you have done, and how you have made an impact with the books you have.
Yeah, and so my first book is that's my baby, right? So Mind Right, Money Right, 10 Laws of Financial Freedom. My first book that I became a bestseller, publishing. I have a book called From the Block to the Bank, which is, I love that book as well. When I turned 40, I learned all these principles, and I was able to make millions of dollars. So I wanted to teach that, and so I have a book called From the Block to the Bank. Abundance is Your Birthright is my book that talks about money and spirituality, because I think that a lot of people try to separate God from money, but you can't separate God from anything, because God is in everything. And so Abundance is Your Birthright is me teaching, whether you're Catholic, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, we're all made in the image and likeness of God, right? All of the scriptures say we're all made in the image and likeness of God. And so if God is infinite possibilities, you are infinite possibilities. And so Abundance is Your Birthright talks about the laws that you need to follow in order to live in abundance. But what I'm most proud of is a series of books that I call Hip-Hoponomics. And that's actually what I feel like has got me famous, if you will. Even prior to social media, I want to say 2017, Jay-Z had an album called 444. And this is the album where he was talking about cheating on Beyonce and things of that nature. A lot of the blogs, everybody ran with that, but that was only 20% of the album. 80% of the album, he was talking about credit. He was talking about buying a home, being a homeowner. He was talking about generational wealth. He was talking about all the things that you need in order to live a prosperous life. And I said, why aren't anybody focusing on that? Why are they only focusing on this 20%, him cheating on Beyonce and Solange in the elevator? And so I wrote a book called The Wake Up Call, Financial Lessons Learned from 444. And it immediately took off. I'm talking Success Magazine, Google, Yahoo Finance, Money Magazine, Billboard, The Source. I was everywhere because at that time, again, I was an author. I was already a financial educator. And it was different for a financial educator and author to write a financial literacy book based on a rap album, right? And so I want to say, on record that I'm probably the first to ever do that. And this is why I coined the term hip-hoponomics, hip-hop and economics put together, hip-hoponomics, right? And so after that, I had another book, Making Sense of Kanye. I have one with Nipsey Hussle called Hustlenomics. So I take Nipsey Hussle's lyrics, and we talk about vertical integration. And I have that. Nas, right? Nas, I believe is the first, not the first, but I think he's a billionaire. He doesn't never say it. If you Google his net worth, it says 70 million. That's impossible because if you follow, he had so many $1 billion exits already through Queensbridge Venture Fund, and so on a 30th anniversary of Illmatic. I wrote a book called The Illmatic Investor, teaching you how to be an investor using hip hop.
Wow.
And so I have tons of other concepts that I'm going to put out, but I love that series because I feel like, like the old folks used to tell us, put the medicine in the candy. And so my demographic listens to hip hop, or the demographic that I want to consume my books listens to hip hop. And so I decided to use that as the medium. And so I have, those books, out there. I have others as well, but those are the honorable mentions, if you will.
Your mind and your brain, you're just so brilliant.
No, thank you.
No,
Thank
really,
you.
every time we talk, I'm always like, wow.
Thank you.
So you always just educate me on a whole nother level, but how you were able to just take that and draft it, make it yours, but then still connect it with what we listen to and what we relate to. And there's probably a young man out there right now who has your book in his hand because he's able to relate to the conversation of hip hop and then elaborate that with
financial. And the funny thing about it is that's the number one thing. So a lot of my books are in prisons too, which is why I have a nonprofit organization called Abundance Code, and which is why I do a lot of reform work. But that's exactly that, right? A lot of guys come home and they're like, yo, The Wake Up Call was the first book I read. They're reading this behind the wall because I took finance and what seems like this big scary thing, and I made it digestible by putting the medicine in the candy. And so these guys, so I love the fact that I have that impact, not only just to the community, but even my brothers and sisters that are behind the wall, to get access to the information as well.
That's amazing, Ash. So before we go, I don't want to end. Before we go, is there any last piece of advice that you want to give to the audience? Anything we didn't touch on that you want to give to somebody that's watching this, that's ready to take action and just ready to execute, pull the trigger, execute, and become a best-selling author?
Yeah, I would say believe in your greatness. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, more people than we know, and there might be somebody listening right now, have a worth issue. And when I say a worth issue, a lot of people feel like they need to prove themselves first, right? And so, when they become an author, or the first time they become an entrepreneur, or the first time they're offering their products and services, they feel like they have to get to a certain level of success first before they fully step into who they already are, right? And so I want you to understand that everybody sees your talent, everybody sees your ability except you. The reason why your job is willing to hire you and give you $100,000 or give you $40,000 or give you $30,000 is because you're worth more than that. And they see that and they're hiring you because you have a skill set that they're willing to pay you for, right? And they're never gonna pay you your worth because you have not seen it. And so I need you to see your worth. I need you to know that you are her, you are him, you are everything that you think in your mind, you are that, and you do not need the world to validate that. And when you step into that, though, you have to step into that energy because money, success is an energy. I don't care anywhere I go on this earth, I walk in with the energy that I am confident in myself. It's not about anybody else, right? I don't think I'm better than anybody, but I'm the best Ash that ever walked this earth. And because I know that, I embody that, any information I put out there, I want people to feel it. And so I need people to, immediately though, you do not have to prove yourself. The moment you decide, right, that you, based on your story, based on what you're good at, that you want to share that with the world, make sure that the world feels you. Make sure that they know that you are infinite possibilities, that you are made in the image and likeness of God, that you are greatness on display, right? G-O-D, greatness on display. Just walk with that energy always, and you will always be taken care of.
I think that was for me. I don't even think that was for them. You were talking to me.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I receive it.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys, this has been another amazing episode of Access Granted. I want you to take this link and I want you to share it with 3 people that you love. But most importantly, I want to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching Access Granted. I'll see you guys next time.